What would happen? Now, you're not an alarmist, nor am I. You're a realist and you're a scientist. What will happen in a world if coal-fired power doesn't exist?
Well, we can just look around the world. There's some real-world examples for us, Alan. Germany shut down their coal-fired power stations, and they're talking about not being able to heat their people. They're talking about opening up warming spaces where at night people can go and warm up in a communal environment because people will not have necessarily gas or heating options at home. We can look at Sri Lanka, which drank the Kool-Aid of various spruikers like Joseph Stiglitz, a Nobel Prize-winning economist. He went there a few years ago and convinced them he said that their energy is from the sun. They don't need oil or coal anymore. They can just use the sunshine. And look where that has got them. Their government has been disposed. They're in a world of hurt where they can't afford to even import basic essentials to their country. I mean, that's the real world example. It's right flashing like a big red siren in front of us around the world that wherever these solutions, so-called solutions in renewable energy are tried, failure is the consequence. So we would be mad to continue this rush down this path, but unfortunately we have a government now that's promised to take renewable energy in Australia to 82%. That's their goal. So I think for the moment they're just battening down the hatches, and it doesn't matter what will happen. What's happening in the real world for the Labor Party.
You talked about the possibility, if this keeps going, of Victoria experiencing what you called a renewable drought of 1 terawatt hour of electricity over just 1 week in the future. Just explain that.
Well, it's not my figures. It's not even my term, Alan, I must say. It's this new term that our energy regulators have discovered in the last few months. They call them renewable droughts, where the wind doesn't blow enough. I mean, every day, of course, we have a drought, or every 24-hour period we have a drought in solar power. It's called night. Some of our experts don't seem to understand it, but at night the solar power goes away, and then sometimes at night it's not windy, and in those environments we have these things called droughts. So again, these figures are not mine. The energy regulator looked at, in current solar and wind conditions, what would happen if we don't have coal-fired power. And just for Victoria, there would be a period in the 2030s where they'd be short 1 terawatt hour of power over they only did it over 1 week periods. It could be longer, it could be more, but 1 terawatt hour. What does that mean? I mean, look, that big battery, the world's biggest battery in South Australia, it's a sum total of 129 megawatt hours, not terawatt hours, megawatt hours. And so you would need over 7,500 of those big batteries just in Victoria to keep the lights on during this drought period. I mean, that at the cost of that big battery, that would mean a $700 billion investment, which is well above Victoria's total economic output for everything it produces. This is insane. And the fact that no one will sit down and do these basic calculations and level with us about the costs of this shows that they're not serious. When Chris Bowen is pressed, he says, we're going to have storage. We're going to have storage that's going to solve it. Well, what do you mean? How many batteries? How much does that cost? Where are you going to get all these minerals? These answers, which are key to keeping our lights on, keeping our economy functioning, are never answered.